Well, how about this one? I'm of the opinion that the older generation has damned us with this belief that, like, I think they're the ones that set the tone of cancel culture, truthfully.
Okay.
Because when I was like a sophomore in college, so maybe I was 20, and we had a fraternity party in my house. Like, it was my house. So I don't care what you see, Aunt Susie. And so I am sitting it's like 6 friends. I'm sitting on a counter with the cheapest, trashiest, like $9.99 handle of tequila, and I'm sitting
I've
there.
had that tequila. It's good tequila.
We can't handle the hangover like we used to from that tequila.
Not at all.
So I had a profile picture of just like me my mom's aunt. So like, I call her cousin, but she's like once removed. She's super old. She calls my mom in a tiff. He's holding the tequila. And I'm like, Mom, if this is what ruins me, then I was never marketable in this professional space to begin with. And she's like, you're crazy. The reality is none of it's damned me. So I think they've planted this seed in us of like, ooh, that picture with the Solo cup, that's going to ruin you. I have a friend who's a guidance counselor. He's a guidance counselor. He's not a judge. Okay. And he's changed his name on Instagram to Stove. All he has on his Instagram is pictures with him and his grandma. Okay.
If you would have said pictures of stoves, I would have followed him immediately.
He's not that creative.
Oh, my God.
But now I call him a kitchen appliance because he had to hide himself. Nobody can find me with my pictures of me and my grandma as I'm over here saying some of the most outrageous stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, but wait, you're of the belief that your career is going to be over as something with a pretty low standard, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then you have other people who it's like, so I think it's just the seed they've planted in us. And the reality is not enough people are willing to dip that toe in the pool and even to find out. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
It makes sense. I really don't think it's like a real thing.
Right, yeah.
I think what is happening is the same thing that always happens, where old people just don't understand young people, and they finally like came up with a label for it. That's it. It's just 2 generations not understanding each other, and they're like,
Elvis
she doesn't like me.
music.
That's cancel culture, and it's just like, no, Mom, just like, because it seems like it's kind of a 1-way, 2-way street between young and old for the most part.
Yes,
and it's just like, I don't think it's real. I think it's no different than my dad being like, oh, they don't make shoes like they used to.
Right,
like,
right. Or Elvis is the devil's music, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
And at the end of the day, though, let's just say okay.
Little Nas X is now Elvis.
But, okay, I'm also of the opinion, swinging your hips and looking sexy, right? That wasn't necessarily the devil's music. But it did lead to WAP. Right?
It did.
Somewhere
indirectly,
down,
but yeah.
like WAP is now being sung to your 11-year-old daughter.
Macaroni in a pot, that's some wet and gushy.
So at some point it was like, maybe we didn't see the entire, picture, but like now this path did lead to something where it's like, okay, but at the end of the day, do I think, just like video games, you know what was huge when we were kids? I think because social media didn't totally take us over, video games came before that age. Yeah. And you had Columbine and all these things where they're like, okay, video games are causing violence and murder. But none of the statistics reflected that. None of the statistics or numbers showed that. But we had no explanation for the first time we have a gun shoot. Exactly. Yeah. But the reality is, for the masses, it didn't have that effect, right? So the question is, are we just trying to draw upon something, or kind of like a pill? Like, let's just say we made a new pill. Yeah. They always say, this is going to probably prevent you from having a headache. Well, let's just say that's what it is. And then
always like, it could give you blood clots.
And it could give you, but, and for the majority of people, totally fine. But a couple people are going to have blood clots, 1 or 2 of them. So let's just say...
And then when I take the pill, I'm like, no blood clots. This is bullshit. I got to keep living.
Or you look at the other guy and you're like, sissy, this is Darwinism, baby. But
is it?
But think of like, this whole new evolution in the human, history line. Social media, connectivity, the internet, all of this. Maybe like a pill, you're going to have statistically some side effects. Some people are not going to be able to handle it. So I don't know if we can blanket universalities either way, if that makes any sense. Like, it could have an effect on some people, but I think the majority of people, it doesn't. So do we stop everybody from playing video games, or do we blanket statement social media as being totally terrible?
Even with video games, you can like make that argument already. There's seizure warnings at the beginning of games. So you stop every kid from playing video games because like 0.00%.
I mean, how about
I know that
this one?
I just said the word zero like an idiot, but I mean, for real. I mean, there was kids having seizures watching Pokemon when we were kids. That was like a big thing where they tried to get rid of Pokemon. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that.
And so it's like, I don't know. You can't make everything safe always.
What's interesting is so I went to Miami University, and we had this grad school, undergrad, like hybrid class.
Yeah.
And the grad students, they had like a little bit more homework and da-da-da. But in this class, we had to go to a special room in this building that I went to every day for 4 years, right? Never any different. But this one room, they took out all the light bulbs and put in long lamp posts around the whole inside of the room because one girl would have seizures from a certain type of light bulb. It was the most, and I don't even know what to draw upon this, but it's like, that was so obscure. Like, and
that is something I would never think of. Too.
Right, exactly. A light bulb.
Yeah.
And a light bulb type, because it's not that we had candles instead of light bulbs. It was just a different type of light bulb. And if we didn't do that, she would be open to having seizures. So it's like, okay, we're facing two different things here. It used to be, in the older times, that was the person that just got eaten by the lion and the pack moved on. Now, we want to live in a society where we try to make it flourish for everybody.
Yeah.
But how much do you slow down the pack for the person at the back? And at the end of the day, changing the light bulbs didn't harm anything.
Didn't harm anyone. So that's why I'm like, yeah, do it, man.
Do that. But do we say...
Change all the light bulbs. I don't give a shit.
How about this one? But then TikTok on the other side, this new generation, they're like the moral police out here. And now you can't have a flashy video. It's like, okay, well, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Maybe you don't get to ride the Star Wars ride Disney because it's got a few flashes. Like, do I have to lose the Star Wars ride, or does the Star Wars ride have to lose some of its thrill for 99% of us because that one person can't handle the one light bulb type? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. That's a good question. That's a deep question.
Right. I don't even know how to approach that, because it seems very selfish when you take the position of like, well, the majority. But also it's like, there's the numbers, 350 million.
They're also like, I get that they're kids, but they are like young adults. They just don't have that life experience yet, and they're so optimistic, which I do respect. And so I do love that they're like, I want to help everybody.
Right.
I really like that, but it's also like one of those things where it's like, yeah, what's feasible?